What if I do this?
See, now you're ruining it.
Now you're fucking another look.
Have you worked in TV? You did EastEnders. You know about framing a shot, and then if you move out of the frame...
Yeah, but there's normally like more than one camera.
It's true. Where's the other fucking
multi-camera. Sorry, your budget wouldn't allow for that.
Yeah. Right, and go.
Hello, mister.
Hello. Is it started?
It started.
Okay.
We're on. You're live.
Let me get rid of my
Are you going to get... Good start, babe. Oh, are you going to keep that for later?
Yeah.
What is it?
That's a strepsil.
Oh, are you feeling a bit hoarse today?
Very hoarse.
Why is that?
Because I had a show last night.
And you had 3 Crystal Mazes yesterday as well, didn't you?
Yes, 3 shows at the Crystal Maze, and then 1 show of Happily Ever Poofter.
Nice segue, straight in there. So just tell us about that little show you...
About Happily Ever Poofter?
Yeah.
So it's called Happily Ever Poofter. It is a gay Disney parody. I wrote it after... Well, I grew up watching Disney films. I love Disney. Big Disney fan, so it's very much a celebration of all things Disney. But when I was growing up, once I realised kind of who I was and my identity in my teenage years, I realised that my story, my gay story, wasn't depicted in Disney. And I think that's true for a lot of people who maybe feel different in whatever way, that their identity and their story, their narrative isn't shown in the stories that we're told as children often. It's changing these days, which is amazing. But I decided to write a gay Disney love story. So it's about a gay Disney prince, the world's first and only gay Disney prince, and his quest for true love.
But going from that, it's not only Disney really. You talk generally about theatre in general, about changing the narrative.
Yeah, it's so the show is... Well, you saw it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So the show is...
Did you make a reference to Above the Stag in particular?
I did.
Where you've been yourself?
Where I was Above the Stag last week. I didn't... So when I go to each venue, I have to change it for the venue that I'm at. So when I was at Above the Stag...
You said somewhere else.
I did. And you have to come and see it to find out where I say. It starts as kind of pantomime, as Disney, as kind of the kind of pastiche, maybe cliche things that you'd expect from this kind of show. It's all very like heightened, and it's about his quest for true love, his happily ever after. But as we go through the show, what my director Denholm Spurr, the fabulous Denholm Spurr, what he's done is, I think what I've done in the writing is kind of subvert what you expect at the beginning of the show. So at the beginning you think it's going to be all kind of panto-esque and kind of silly, camp, for want of a better word, and by the end we're talking about kind of more global narratives and hopefully with a bit more of a message. Yeah,
because you really do cover a lot of issues, and quite nicely.
Yeah,
very well handled.
Well, the other thing is the whole gay thing, that I, as a gay man and as someone that's done a lot of gay theatre, I didn't want to just do something kind of fluffy and gay. Like a lot of the stuff I've done, like the Chemsex Monologues by Patrick Cash, has always been kind of deep and with a lot of substance, and I didn't want to do a disservice to the work that I've done before and to the work that many people in the queer community are doing by doing something kind of without much depth. And so I wanted to touch on chemsex, I wanted to touch on consent, I wanted to touch on tribes, on gay culture, what it means to be gay, what it means to be LGBTQ+, PrEP, HIV, STIs, like that. It's all in there because that's all part of our story as gay men or as queer individuals. I hope I did it okay.
Yeah. But do you feel we are represented well? Because there is, like, say, your piece particularly talks about changing the narrative. Is that something you'd like to see with other theatres taking that lead? I think
a huge amount has been done lately. I think that queer theatre is really popular now, actually, and with stuff like Drag Race, a lot of stuff has become mainstream. So I think that we're in a very different place now from where we were about 10 years ago. I think in the show I talk about changing the narrative. For me, that's on kind of a more personal level. Yeah. So when I wrote the show, I was going through my own kind of journey as an artist, as an actor, as an individual, and I wanted to write something that was about empowerment, about being able to take control of our narrative. If we don't know the story we're in, why not try writing a new one? So I think for me, that part of the show, which you'll have to come see to work out what we're talking about, it's a little bit kind of giving clues here, but I want to give away the ending. But that bit of the show is for me on more of a personal level. On kind of an industry level, in theatre and film and TV and stuff, so much has been done. Like the fact that RuPaul Drag Race now is, you know, a mainstream thing. And 10 years ago when it started, it was those like horrible season 1 filters.
Emmy
and
award winning.
Emmy, like double, or is it triple Emmy award winning? Like, a lot of queer culture is no longer countercultural. It is culture. It's mainstream culture. Same can be said for Queer as Folk. Not Queer as Folk, Queer Eye. Queer as Folk, they should bring that back. Russell, if you're watching, bring that back. But Queer Eye, when that was first on TV, was this like late night kind of like the people that watched it, you know, it was not mainstream. Carson Kressley was like an underdog of a celebrity, and now Queer Eye is like one of the top Netflix shows. Like so much has changed, but there could be more. For example, Disney, which is where my show comes into play. See what I did
going
there?
back into your career, so you started out, you trained at MTA.
I did.
Which is an incredible academy. They really look after you, don't they?
They do.
And they do still support you.
They do. Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the MTA is it's like a little family because the year groups are so small, and it's only been around for like a decade. I think it's their 10th anniversary this year. So happy birthday, Anne-Marie. But yeah, so there's only like 200 of us that have been there, maybe less, and so we kind of all know each other. Like last week when I was working at Above the Stag, in the other show in the main space Closer to Heaven, a guy called Mickey is in it, and we never trained at the MTA together, but the minute we were there I was like, oh, Mickey, Rich, and Simone, who choreographs the show, Simone Murphy, love of my life, she's part of the MTA family as well, so we're all a little family. There are so few of us that we know each other all, and we get around as well. Some more than others. No, I don't mean career-wise. I just mean, you know, lifestyle.
So back when you were training, did you ever expect that this is where your career would take you?
To be honest, when I was training, I felt more drawn to kind of the leading man parts. I think when I went to MTA, I was 6'2". I was already 23. I trained quite late. And I looked a certain way, and I went there, and I think the staff, including Anne-Marie, were quite like, oh great, leading man, and I came in like, hey girl, and perhaps didn't fulfill what I had intended and what the faculty saw of me. And so if I'm honest, when I was training, I thought that I'd be, Marius in Les Mis or whatever. And over the course of, not so much over the course of my training, but after I graduated, I realised like that could still be a thing, might still be a thing one day, but I am so proud of being LGBT plus, and I also I've done so much new writing in my career that really excites me, telling stories that people haven't heard before. And so whilst I'd love to do a West End musical, it's not often you get the chance to tell a brand new story that, yeah, like I said, has never been heard before. So this show, Happily Ever Poofter, is kind of combining my love for all things queer and my love for brand new stories. So no, when I was at MTA, I wouldn't have thought that I'd do something like this. Even a year ago, I wouldn't have thought that I'd write my own show, to be honest. Like that kind of came as a surprise at the end of last year. Suddenly I was writing a show, and it's all happened so quickly in the last 5 months. I'm loving it.
And are you enjoying being on the stage by yourself? What's it like as a solo performer?
Oh, it's wet, Phil. It's very wet. I get very sweaty. There's no rest. There's one bit. You've seen it, haven't you? Yeah, there's one bit when I get a little mini rest by getting someone else to do something. No spoilers. But
you've done solo work before. You've done a one-man show called Trashbag, Trish.
Yeah, good memory.
Good memory. I remember that well.
Again, written by the fabulous Pat Cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that your first taste of
being on stage.
Yeah.
Well, actually, also the Chemsex monologues that he wrote, that Denholm did as well. Yeah. We were all on stage by ourselves. That, I think, was the first experience of kind of individual performing, being alone on stage, not having anyone else to save you. Because I think, particularly musical theatre, because you're always part of a company, which is one of the best things about musical theatre, and something that I do miss in this show. I'll be honest, I miss it. But having kind of other people to hold you up or to hide behind when you make a mistake, which I often do. When you sing a wrong harmony, you can be like, oh, there's that guy over there. It wasn't me. When you get a dance move wrong, you can just run off stage and let everyone else do it. There's none of that when you're performing by yourself. So I suppose when I did Chemsex Monologues, I had that experience, and then Pat wrote Trashbag Trish, Patricia Pre-Marché. That was only one night though, so I suppose that was like a taste of it. And it was kind of to see if I could do it. I found it exhausting, and so that's something I've had to really work on in this show. Stamina. That's why I'm.
But you have done a few pantos, and adult pantos in particular, which I would imagine are quite exhausting.
Yeah. So this feeling I've got right now, where my voice is like hoarse, but I know it's going to be there tonight for the show. It's exactly the feeling that I had all of last Christmas when I was doing Aladdin at the RVT. So I do the adult panto at the Royal Vauxhall Tavern every year. Love it there. The Royal Vauxhall Tavern actually helped this show come about because they gave me my first shot at doing it on stage. So yeah, that's exhausting. There's only 5 of us in that show. The space is tiny, and there's 5 people on stage and about 180 people in the audience, all drunk, all leering at you the whole time. So yeah, it's knackering. So I suppose that was good training for this.
And yeah, in particular with audience participation.
Heckling.
How is that to like deal with and combat? I mean, you seem to take it in your stride, and you're very quick-witted.
Thank you. I think that's...
Or is that something that just...
I don't really know where that came from.
Yeah.
That was... Okay, so I can tell you, that was the first year I did the RVT panto, we did Goose, which was Mother Goose. And there was a scene where I had to ask the audience to suggest things that we could do to Mother Goose while she was hypnotised.
Yeah.
Don't ask how that scene came about. Very random. And...
You suggested it.
Sorry?
You suggested it.
It was my idea. No, it wasn't. It was Tim and Paul. Tim Benzies, Paul Joseph, fabulous writers. It was all of them. And it was my responsibility, and Alan Hunter's the other actor. We had to kind of bounce off the audience. And I think after like the third night of doing it, I was like, oh, I'm quite good at this.
Yeah.
And it's quite fun. And the amount of people that came up to me after that show and said, Rich, you should be a drag queen. Because that's what drag queens do every night in their shows. They welcome the audience to do that. So I considered it for a hot minute and then realised that I don't know how to do makeup. And I've got very broad shoulders. So I wrote a show that allows me to do that as well.
Yeah.
There's a whole bit in the show which I invite one person in particular to kind of give me stuff to bounce off. And I enjoy it. It's fun. It's scary every night. I'm like, I wonder what they're going to say. But then also the fun thing is you get to kind of know what people are going to say. So like after you do it a few times, you're like, oh, that old line. Okay, I know what I'm going to do now. It's fun when someone throws something completely curveball at you. It's like, think fast. But I overthink anyway. Like you can tell right now, I'm just like talking a million miles an hour. I overthink. That's my thing.
What do you hope an audience would take away from this show?
Joy, pure joy. That is what I want. We say this every night before we go on stage. Well, it's my new tradition now, as of like last night, just to say give them joy, because for me that's, I mean, in 2019 we've got enough to worry about, do you know what I mean? And I think it's important that people enjoy theatre. I think theatre can also challenge people and make people question stuff. I hope the show does that. I hope it enlightens a non-queer audience to some of the things that go on for our community, and I hope that it speaks to a queer audience about things that they're going through or things that they felt growing up. But most importantly, I want people to enjoy it and come out feeling happy, because I'm having a good time, so I want everyone else to as well.
Has it had that effect on you, this whole process?
Yeah. I don't think I can quite process, to use that word. I can't quite process this process yet, because I only started writing it at the beginning of this year, and we're now July.
Yeah.
And I did it for the first time in April, and so since then it's all happened quite quickly. But I think on a personal level, I mean, you and I have known each other for years, but on a personal level, it's been quite cathartic in processing my own life, my own backstory, my own history, and also it's been thoroughly enjoyable. We have fun. I don't think we've had like a bad rehearsal. I don't think we've had there's a line in Rocket Man, the Elton John film, where he says about his writing partner, they've never had an argument, and that's how I feel about Denholm. I don't ever intend to have an argument with Denholm, because we just have such fun. And I could never argue with Simone. She's the sweetest individual. No, yeah.
Was she in your year at MTA?
Yeah. Simone and I were in the same audition.
Wow.
So we met in 2011. It's now 2019. So we knew each other 8 years. Yeah, 8 long years.
That's when I first met you. You won't remember. At the Singers Soiree, where you guys came in to sing Rent.
What, in that church?
Yeah.
You were there?
I was a producer.
Oh, wow.
So I was sat with Jamie and we got you in. And we had you on those benches in front of us.
Yeah.
Pretending you weren't watching, and then you got up and...
The Rent flash mob.
Yeah. That was it. And
God, that was so fun. That was a lovely arrangement. Anne-Marie, you're very talented.
Hoodie and your big white nashes.
I wore a red hoodie, did I?
Yeah, I remember.
I used to get criticised at MTA for not dressing the part. Here I am. I don't know if you can see what I'm wearing on my bottom half here today, but I haven't learned. I still don't dress the part.
I think you all had to blend in to the audience. That was the point.
I suppose it was it a World AIDS Day thing? Red hoodie, that fits. See?
Yeah, you were ahead of your time, babe. Let's talk about this, because you are very vocal and very brave. Like, you've done videos about coming out and recently about
my
the BBC. Yeah, which was very brave. Is that something you felt an obligation to do, or a responsibility as an actor, or is that something you just wanted to do for your own personal reasons?
I suppose both. I think at the early days of my diagnosis, it was, to be honest, it was a way of processing it myself. I was in the closet as a gay man. I was in the closet for years, and so when I came out, I decided I didn't want to have that experience again, whatever it is. So I've always tried to be as honest and as open as I can. Then when I was diagnosed, I had to go back into the closet for a short while about my HIV. And after I told my family and told my friends, and had such an amazing reaction from all of them, and I realised actually this isn't a big deal. But the advances that have been made, I could go on and on about this for ages, but the advances that have been made these days in 2019, there is very little to worry about, and there's certainly nothing to be ashamed of. So once I got my head around that, I decided I didn't want to go back into the HIV closet. Speaking so publicly about it, like the BBC and
that's it. How are your family with regards to that? Because obviously they'll be supportive of you on a personal level, but were they worried for you that coming out publicly?
I think my mum learned a long time ago not to tell me what to do, so she just accepts whatever I do. My mum isn't a huge fan of the BBC thing because it says Welsh actor from Wales, family from Brecon. My dad's side that's from Brecon, and my mum's like, "You're not Welsh." I hate to tell you, Mum, I am a little bit, but no, I think my mum is amazing. She's so supportive. She's come to see the show more often than anyone else, except for Denholm and Simone. And Denholm's boyfriend Kane. Must mention Kane, because he's basically made the whole show happen.
He shoots the cannon at the end, doesn't he?
And that isn't a euphemism. Also, spoiler alert, Phil.
Oh, sorry.
He does. He shoots his load at the end of the show.
There you go.
Can I say that? I said it.
Well, you've said it now.
So yeah, the family have been great.
Were you ever worried about whether it would have an impact on you professionally? There is a stigma surrounding it, and people don't understand it. That's why it's so great and so bold and brave of you to talk about it openly.
Thank you. I don't really see it as brave. I suppose it is, but professionally, I had such a worry when I first got diagnosed that I would never work again. Like, before I spoke openly about it, I thought, oh my God, this is the thing that's going to change my life for the worse. Like. I can't be an actor now. How can I go into a room and pretend to be someone else when I've got this thing about me that I don't want to tell people and that I don't like about myself? Like, how can I ever go out there and pretend to be Hamlet, you know?
Yeah.
Chance to be a fine thing, Hamlet. Who am I kidding? But whatever, you know, like, how can I go into an audition room and win them over with my representation of someone else when my real self is in turmoil? That was the only time that I was worried about my career. Then I took some time off acting to work on myself and to process stuff. and then work in the HIV community at Terrance Higgins Trust, which is an amazing charity who do so much stuff. And we're fundraising for them at the Canal Cafe and at the Bloomsbury Clinic, where I am a patient. I worked there for over a year. So in that time, I got my head around all the kind of the HIV stuff. I've never, since speaking openly about it, been worried about my career as an actor. Because the fact is, if there's a director or a casting director out there that sees it and doesn't want to hire me, I absolutely don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Like, I make it a rule not to work with bigots, you know?
And it's the same with dating, isn't it? So
Same with dating.
if you come across someone who doesn't want to date you because of that, then do you really want to date them?
And, you know, there's still so much to be done, and I think there's still a lot of, like, as you say, stigma or ignorance or misunderstanding out there. But I do think that being in the theatre profession or the creative arts, that we're very much in a supportive industry. I mean, the stuff that Mad Trust have done, the impact that HIV had upon our community as artists back in the 80s, I think that you'd have to be a very small-minded person to work in the industry we work in and to not have got your head around that, at least. And also there are many of us living with HIV in all careers, in all walks of life, but particularly in the creative arts. And so, you know, if you've got a negative opinion of me because of my status, then you probably have one of many of your other colleagues and co-workers. But I don't tend to overthink all of that stuff. I overthink a lot of things, as I said, but that, whatever. I can't change what other people think about me. I can only change myself.
What do you want from the future, role-wise? Is there anything you'd like to do?
Happily ever Poofter at the Palladium. I want to take Prince Henry to the West End.
Could happen.
Could happen. I'd love to, you know, I would love to do the show. I'd love to record it, maybe do some kind of like Netflix thing, maybe without the whole Disney song element, but I think that there is mileage in that. But outside of Happily Ever Poofter,
And there's room for other characters. Is it all?
We've got a really good idea. So I work at Terrance Higgins Trust with a fabulous woman called Rebecca Talon de Havilland, who was the first openly trans woman from Northern Ireland.
Amazing.
An absolute hero, my role model, and she wants me to have a wicked stepmother in the sequel, and for her to play it.
Love it already.
It's supposed to be a one-man show, but I'll let Rebecca in. I don't know if that's going to happen. It could do. There's so many other characters. We're thinking of doing. We've got a lot of ideas.
Well, also within the show, you play a few different characters, and not just Prince Henry, is there?
Yeah, there's many other characters. You have to come see it to find out. But other roles. I would just love to keep creating new roles. Like I said, if, you know, Elder Price comes knocking or Fiero happens, it certainly won't with my throat in this state, but, you know, something like yeah, that would be lovely. That'd be so fun. I love Wicked. I grew up with Wicked, but I also love seeing an audience witness something for the first time and being there for their first ever experience of it. Which I suppose if Happily Ever Poofter happens again and again and again and again, that will stop happening. So maybe to think about that. I don't know. I'm just going where the wind blows me at the moment, and enjoying this ride.
And when do you take it up to Edinburgh?
So we're there for the first week of the festival, Fringe Festival. We're doing 3rd to the 9th of August at a brand new venue.
Wow.
Called The Outhouse.
You're christening it.
Where it's baptism of fire, if you will.
And it's a free venue, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing free Fringe. I mean, because we only did the show for the first time in April, by which time a lot of Edinburgh had already been organised. So it was, I'll be honest, it was quite a last minute thing.
They're great venues, though.
Yeah,
and
a
few people have done them.
It's right near, so the Outhouse is right next to CC Blooms, I hear.
Nice.
So I'm just...
Is this the first time you've been to Edinburgh?
First
as
time
a
I performed,
performer?
yeah.
But you've been as a...
I was there last summer as a punter, and I went in...
So you know CC's?
Well, no, I don't.
How did you know?
No.
Oh, you're going to love it.
What's it like? What have I got in store?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like a party. It's a month-long party, and you're only there for a week.
Fab. Well, we'll start the party off.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have an amazing time.
Yeah, it's exciting. So we're 9:40 p.m. Can you imagine 9:40 in the morning? No. 9:40 in the evening, every night, 3rd to the 9th. And then I'm excited to also be doing, after our show, there's a show called Hot Gaze at the Outhouse. So I'm gonna be like...
They asked you?
I know what they think. I think they confused the title with Hot Messes when they asked me, but I'll take it. So we're just going to do a little bit of Happily Ever Poofter in that, and that's in the same venue. So if you come and see Poofter at the Outhouse, then stay around for Hot Gaze afterwards.
Double bill of Rich Watkins.
Well, I'm not billed in the other show. I'm just doing a little excerpt. But it means that you've seen how sweaty
Double
I get
helping.
in the show. Double helping, yeah. 2 for the price
Double
of 1.
scoop.
2 for the price of 1, even when it's free.
Yeah.
But you've seen how sweaty I get in the show.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm going to have to literally come off stage.
Well, I didn't know if that was just particularly at the Canal Theatre. Was that the same above the Stag?
Yeah, it's kind of always the same. I mean, it was...
You're just a sweaty man.
I'm just a sweaty man. I always have been, though. Anyone from MTA will tell you. I was the sweatbox. Don't know what I mean with that. I knew you'd like
Advertising.
that. Free advertising. What was I saying? Yes, it's sweaty. At the Canal Cafe, it was extreme. Like, it's very hot there. And we had just come off the back of doing our tech in a space of a matter of minutes. We had a couple of hours in the space, which is all we need. But it was just hot, and under the stage lights and stuff. The 2 brewers, interestingly, in Clapham, had some very intense aircon, only at like one bit in the stage, so I would just like manoeuvre myself. I mean, it's a one-man show, you can do this, you can go wherever you want, and then I get told off later by Denholm and Simone, but I can kind of I just went and stood under the aircon for quite a lot of it, which is nice.
What's been your favourite audience so far? How
All
have the
of
audience has
them
been?
really interestingly different. So the RVT audience, when we first did the show in April, was, I mean, it's an RVT audience. They were wild, they were up for it, they were drinking, most of them were stood up. But I felt very at home there, having performed in their pantos for the last few years. The Above the Stag audiences were so attentive and kind and really listening. But again, we did 2 nights there and they were entirely different. So the Monday was very listening. The Tuesday was almost as rowdy as the RVT, I must say, actually. They really got involved. It wasn't a one-man show on that night, it was an 86-person show. And then at the Brewers, it was the night before Pride. So we did July the 5th, the night before London's. I mean, the fact that we sold out at the Brewers, and the fact that everyone came the night before the biggest night in the gay calendar. Was a real honour, and also the night before London celebrated 50 years since Stonewall. So it was an emotion. I was very emotional that night, to be honest, to be able to do something that was for the community and to be there with the community, and in a space that I've worked at so often. The Brewers is like home to me, like the RVT. I am Mr. Brewers. The one and only Mr. Brewers. They held a male beauty pageant in 2017, never to be repeated. So I was crowned the first annual Mr. Brewers.
First and only. Amazing.
First and only.
You still got the crown?
I had a sash, but I still have the sash.
Oh, nice.
And I've got the crown of the show. Got my own crown now.
The costumes are fantastic. You did them all yourself, didn't you?
I didn't make them all myself. I came up with the aesthetic. So we've kind of pulled in a lot of favours. Had a lot of things kind of lent / hopefully maybe given to me for the show. The final outfit, no spoilers, but the final outfit was made by the fabulous Bougie Bourgeoisie of Cutterbitch Designs, who I've worked with at the RVT Panto and is a very good friend of mine. So Bougie made the kind of pièce de résistance outfit, but the kind of the design in general was. Yeah, it was kind of my vision. I mean, Henry could only ever look one way for me.
No, exactly.
I had that outfit in mind. So once you had him, it all kind of fell into place. I mean, I don't wear much for one of the characters. That was easy.
Spoiler.
You liked that bit, didn't you, Phil?
My favourite bit, I went with 2 little friends when they come on.
My 2 little friends.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I'm not saying who they are.
So
but
they were made. I bought them from a shop in Clapham. There are 2 puppets that come out, and I bought them from a shop in Clapham, the Puppet Shop, which is on Wandsworth Road, but then they were given a Queer Eye makeover by the insanely talented matching suits, matching boots and all, and that was done by Susie Battersby, which is a company called Red Girl FX. She is possibly the most talented person I know. She helped make a very famous Star Wars robot in the latest remake, the one that whizzes around.
Wow.
And she
worked on yours. Wow.
How that happened? Who did I sleep with to get that? No one. I slept with no one. Certainly not Susie, she's a very good friend of mine. But yeah, she made those puppets look the way they do, and they are
adorable.
They steal the show, unfortunately. I'm there for an hour, up to there for 3 minutes, and they steal the whole show. But whatever. Who's counting?
Yeah, you kind of manhandle them when they get them off.
Yeah.
Tip them upside down.
I know, I need to be a bit more careful with them.
A little bit. Be a bit more tender, babe.
I'm very gentle with them when I enter them. Whereas, you know, they've got a little soft landing waiting for them in the wing.
Okay. Just like fling them.
So long, farewell. No, they're going to come on the road with us. The Poofter team plus puppets coming to Edinburgh.
Right, well I better let you get on because you've got one more show tonight here in London.
And then 2 more next week.
Amazing.
Yeah, 3 more shows at the Canal Cafe. And then Edinburgh. And then who knows?
The Palladium.
The Palladium. The O2.
That'd be good.
Yeah, an arena tour. Happily ever Poofter the arena tour. Can you
it.
imagine? I don't think I'd want to do that. A lot of people, Phil. Too many people.
Imagine the sweat.
They'll probably have like proper aircon there though. I've had Beyonce, come on.
Yeah, she had a fan though, didn't she?
I've got a fan though.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Cute.
Spoilers.
Boy, oh my god, we've just told them everything that happens. Good luck.
This is lovely.
Well,
Thanks for having me. Aw, babes.